Chat. Haben wir hier Schalke?
2018, second place in the Bundesliga. 2019, qualified through the Champions League groups and played Manchester City in a round of 16. 2020, a 30-game winless streak. 2021.
30 Spieler kann ich mir ja niemand dran erinnern.
Relegated from the Bundesliga in the most embarrassing way imaginable. 34 games played, 16 points, minus 61 goal difference with only 3 games won. 2022, champions of the second tier of German football, the Bundesliga 2. And 2023, yet another relegation, and as we currently speak, are just above the relegation zone in the second Bundesliga on goal difference. As it stands.
Das könnte wirklich komplett gestört werden, ne? Diese Vorstellung, dass Schalke absteigt und die Lizenz nicht für die dritte Liga bekommt und direkt in die vierte absteigt. Müssen wir überlegen, Chat. Ich glaube, Schalke ist der drittgrößte Verein in Deutschland, ne? Nach Bayern und Dortmund. Der drittgrößte Verein, also einfach in der vierten Liga dann.
Schalke gets relegated to the third tier of German football, then they will quantifiably
Achtgrößte der Welt.
Similar
Tobi
to how
grad.
Rangers in 2012 had to completely restart from the amateur leagues and work their way up again, Schalke will have to do the same. This is undeniable, and this will happen if they go down. How can they go from second place in the Bundesliga to being on the edge of no?
Ich schwöre, ich hab letztens noch Sachen gesehen, Chat, ne? Es gibt mir so Flashbacks. Für mich ist wenn ich dieses Schalke-Wappen sehe, ist es so ein Top-Club. Ja, Digga, Lincoln. Kennt ihr den noch? Ich weiß noch, ein Freistoßtor, was er mal gegen Bayern gemacht hat. Ah, da ist er direkt. Das ist Freistoß gegen Bayern. Das ist nur ein Beispiel, ne? Aber deswegen, für mich ist Schalke, wenn ich an Schalke denke, ich denke immer noch an diesen geistkranken Top-Club.
No longer existing in 5 years. Let's get into it. Tell me down below your thoughts on Schalke. I'm not a Schalke fan. I'm not really a fan of any.
War locker Top 4 Club in Deutschland so damals.
5,000 likes and I'll support them from now on. Tell me your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you're new.
Ich weiß, Video ist irgendwie voll leise.
Warte mal. I may try to add a Schalke one there as well sometime soon. Let's get into it. Quickly, we need to add some context to exactly who Schalke are, as they are not just any football team. Schalke is one of the biggest teams in German football. It is in comparison of a Tottenham Hotspur or a Chelsea being on the verge of no longer existing. If you go to any German and say who's the top 5 biggest clubs in the country, Schalke is undeniably always on that list. Known for having possibly the most passionate fan base, known for the famous history and having incredible high numbers of attendances and members since the dawn of time. As of 2022, Schalke had
Ja, Schalke hat mega viele Talente gebracht. Diese Zeiten. Guck mal, Goretzka, Sané sind gleiche Generation gewesen. Davor Neuer. Jetzt muss ich gerade mal nachdenken. Das sind ja alles die Spieler, die jetzt bei Bayern spielen, Digga. Özil kam von Schalke, stimmt. Draxler war auch sehr gut. Damals war Verfan auch so eine Legende, aber ich glaube, der kam jetzt nicht aus der Schalke-Jugend.
160,000 members. This makes Schalke the second biggest sports club.
Zweitgrößte sogar. Ist das aktuell? Und hat Schalke echt mehr Mitglieder als Dortmund?
In Germany and the fourth biggest sports club in the world behind Bayern.
Sechstgrößte sogar.
Munich, Benfica and Boca Juniors. In the last 2 decades, Schalke has only won 1 major trophy, technically 3 if you count the League Cup back in 2005 and the Super Cup back in 20. Technically 3 if you count.
Baumjohann hier, ne? Verfan, Hövedes. Oh, wie hieß der nochmal? Das war ein Grieche. Ich weiß auch nicht mehr, wie der heißt. Den hier weiß ich auch nicht, wer das ist. Das war so ein griechischer Stürmer hier. Ich weiß nicht mehr, wie der hieß.
Count the League.
Hier Ebbe Sand. Den hier kenne ich auch noch. Kobiaschwili oder so, kann es sein? Hier der Charisteas. Kann sein, ja. Und das hier, ich glaube, man hat mittlerweile 10.000 Mitglieder mehr als Schalke. Schalke hat 180.000 und 190.000. Warum hat der dann so alte Fakten hier, wenn das Video 2 Tage alt ist? Kobiaschwili, guck mal, dass ich den Namen noch kenne, Junge, krass.
Cup back in 2005 and the Super Cup back in 2011. This is when they won the Major Cup in Germany, DFB Pokal, in 2011. The last time they were ever champions of Germany was 1958, and they went the longest route of being in the known Bundesliga, the longest time without ever lifting the title. Despite all of this, they've always had one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire country. And for Schalke fans, their golden moment was back in 1997 when they won the UEFA Cup. And lastly, the best way to show
Krass, wie krass der deutsche Fußball da damals schon war, ne? Mit Dortmund, Champions League, Schalke, Europa League.
Big Schalke really are, and to show the gravity of how big a club like this in a situation is attendances. We can just do the Bundesliga first, which is in terms of attendances of last season, and Schalke was third with 61,000 average attendance. And by the way, they were in a relegation battle for pretty much the entire year, and they got sent down and still had the third highest. Well, how about Europe? Well, in 2018-19, Schalke was 7th in the entirety of Europe for the highest average attendance. And the last
Digga, wie krass ist Celtic aber auch. Benfica auch heftig. Man hat das Gefühl, so in den Ländern juckt Fußball gar nicht so richtig, aber die haben auch richtig krasse Fans. Ja, und da muss man ja auch dazu sagen, sowas wie Leipzig sagen ja auch andauernd, das Stadion wäre ausverkauft oder so, aber mal, wenn die Nachfrage wirklich so groß ist, dass die Tickets alle weg sind und man gar nicht mehr drankommt, obwohl man so gerne noch welche hätte.
Of German football, have they gone down? No. It's still 61,000 average attendance in the second division of German football. Win or lose, no matter if they are in a relegation battle in the second tier of German football, they still have the same attendance to when they were in the Champions League. Now that's insane. Let's get into what's happened for Schalke to go.
Ich weiß, RW verschenkt ja Tickets immer.
Back-to-back relegations, and if they go down this year.
Das war übrigens das beste Schalke-Trikot jemals, ne? Wird das Re-Rap auch tragen.
Runners up in Bundesliga to 5 years.
So eine geile Farbe, ja.
Relegations, and if they go down this year, they will not be able to perform as a football team in their current state anymore. Let's get into it. Schalke back in 2016 to 18 had a great set of players. Many players that they can go and sell on for a ton of money, which due to very poor management was basically allowing all their top talent.
Und wann ist das? 18, 19 oder so hat er gesagt? Huntelaar ist hier noch da, Goretzka, Sané, nee, das muss früher sein. 16, 17 oder so müsste das doch sein. Oder wann ist Sané zu 15, 16 oder so? 16 bis 18? Wann ist Sané zu City gegangen? Das ist 16. Ich wusste gar nicht, dass Choupo auch mal bei Schalke gespielt hat. Der war wirklich schon überall, ne? Martip.
To leave for free. This was due to the management being way too late on negotiating contracts. And when it came to the time that the players had to really move on to take their next step in their careers,
Digga, wie Goretzka beleidigt wurde, dieser Clip, wo er als Judas beschimpft wird.
In terms of actually negotiating and asking for a fee. What's the point of asking for a ton amount of money when the clubs know they could get them on a free in 6 to 12 months' time? Let's go through 2015-16, Joel Matip. Joel Matip was an academy player of Schalke coming through the academy and was a big talent forward and played already over 250 games for Schalke and was young and a key talented player and was really one of the best centre-backs in the entirety of the Bundesliga. He was 23 years of age and was valued in terms of the market of around 20-odd million euro. However, they severely mismanaged him and his contract was running out and they couldn't sign him to a new one, so he had to go on a free. And that was just one example, 20 million euros lost for one of the best academy talents at the age of 23. Next one, Said Kolasinac. Again, 23 years of age, was an academy prospect at Schalke and already played over 100 games for the club. He went to Arsenal.
Habe ich damals alles gar nicht so mitbekommen, wie die Spieler verloren haben.
He was not only a key player for Schalke,
aber interessant mal zu sehen, wo die wohl die Fehler gemacht haben. Weil so ein Downfall ist schon unfassbar heftig.
His contract ran out and he went on a free. He was again valued at around 50 to 20 million euro. So that's another 20 million euro lost. Next up, Mats Meyer. Back in 2018, he left for free to Crystal Palace. Another player that was 22, came through the academy, was an academy prospect and already played 150 games for Schalke. And at that time, in terms of the German national team, he was seen as one of the best German young talents and was valued on the market for around, again, 20 million euros. Could be maybe a bit higher, could be a bit lower, but 20 million euros was seen as the kind of healthy price point at this time period in late 2010, and he went on a free to Crystal Palace. That is now 60 million euros lost. Same year, by far possibly one of the most painful losses for Schalke was, of course, Leon Goretzka.
Goretzka.
Again, the same age, 23 years of age. He was not only the key player, but was potentially the best midfielder in the Bundesliga at a time period, at least in the top 3, top 5. He had a massive valuation of at least 40 million euro, but...
Komplette Vereinsführung ist unprofessionell as fuck. Mein Dad ist so ein bisschen halb sponsoring-mäßig mit involviert und bekomme da immer was mit, traurig, was da so erzählt wird.
Could be maybe even a bit more, considering the team he went to, Bayern Munich, and not only being another academy prospect, he also left on a free. Now, 40 million, 50, 45, 35, it doesn't really matter, because when you're a club like Schalke, money does mean a lot. You've got to start making money from your academy at some stage, and losing 40 to 50 million is, what's the word for it? Scandalous. Leon Goretzka went to Bayern Munich on a free. I can't believe that even happened. 2 years later, another Schalke academy prospect went to Bayern Munich. This was Alexander Nubel, who left on a free to Bayern Munich in 2020, was 23 years old. They're all the same age, by the way. And again,
Diese Generation
was a German under-21s goalkeeper at the time period. And
nee,
at the time was seen to
1893er.
be the new Manuel Neuer. So that means over the course of 4 years, on academy prospects or players that they developed at a very young age, they made zero euro. So they've missed out on potentially 120, 130 million euros, and they've let them all go on a free due to absolute disastrous management. Now, speaking management,
dass man mal einen Spieler umsonst verliert, also weil der halt nicht verlängert. Das passiert ja, aber das ist schon heftig, die 4 Spieler.
Now, Schalke, of course, as we already went through, is one of the biggest clubs in German football and is up there fan-wise as one of the biggest in the world. So ego comes with that, and then comes a sort of demand to bring in the best players to compete at the highest level, and the Borussia Dortmund complex comes into play as well, where the fierce rivals, of course, one of the biggest derbies in the world, they compete not only on the pitch but also off it financially, trying to bring in the biggest name, the biggest fees to really show your sizes of your you know what. However, if you aren't winning games and you also aren't selling those players for any sort of value, then it's a recipe for disaster. Within 2015 to 2022, Schalke
Wie viel Schulden hat Schalke? 100 Millionen, glaube ich, ne?
And most of these players turned out to be complete and utter flops. Rio Embolo bought for 26.5 million euro in 2016 and then was sold for 11 million euro, 15 million euro loss.
Digga, 26 Millionen für Embolo, das hört sich so krank an.
For 90 million euro in 2016 and was sold for nothing. 19 million euros lost. Franco De Santo, 6 million euro spent to bring him in and was let go on a free, another 6 million lost. Johannes Geis, I think it's Geis, brought in 2015 for 10.5 million euro and sold for 500,000 euro. 10 million loss. Yevgen Konoplyanka from, I believe, Sevilla, bought for 12.
Ja, bei dem dachte ich aber auch, das wäre ein krasser Transfer. Also da muss ich auch sagen, ist halt unlucky.
0.5 million euro, sold for 2 million, 10.5 million loss. One of the worst ones, Sebastian Rudy, 16 million euro in 2016 and was let go on a free 3 years later. 16 million euro loss. Omar Mascarell, 12.5 million euro he was brought in for and let go on a free. Hamza Emdel,
die Gehälter brechen das Genick am meisten. Ja, okay, die kenne ich natürlich alle nicht.
Euro, let go on a free 4 years later. And Rabbi Matondo, 9 million euro spent and sold for 3 million euro. 6 million euro loss. So altogether, just those players, I think that's like 9 players there. That is 91.5 million euro that they've lost. On top of their academy prospects, that is altogether combined over 200 million euros lost in a span of 5-6 years. Battling with their own ego a lot of the times and bringing in players to compete with the likes of Borussia Dortmund in terms of their stature and not really having the right coaching and recruitment and the real strategy from off the pitch to make it all come together. And this created massive turnover of coaches and staff and directors in all these years, and therefore a new person has new ideas and thinking, okay, I need this amount of money to make it work, to fix everything. And it comes to the situation of, okay, it didn't work, need to let you go, bring in someone else, and then they need money to go and try and fix it their way, and then it doesn't work, bring someone else in, and then you've got a team full of mixed players that are brought in on different ideas and different philosophies, with directors that are also mixed because they all leave, and then coaches that also are mixed in their philosophy because they also leave too. And what you have is a complete mess. All of this has led to their current situation, which is currently on goal difference just on top of the relegation zone in the second tier.
Das Spiel wird wichtig am Wochenende.
Now, what happens if they do
alles
go
klar,
down?
Chat.
Well, in German football, you need licenses to actually perform at that level. And due to the amount of debt that Schalke has, which, by the way, I believe is 165 million euro, leagues can just say no. As in the past, in the third tier of German football, they can allow a team to enter, and then they could just fall apart and go into administration and liquidate midway through the season. Now, this isn't what a league wants, so they have to make sure that you can actually perform and complete the season before you even take part in it. Therefore, you need a license. So that means if the situation comes that Schalke gets relegated and they will have to be in the third tier of German football, the league will say no. They will say no, as they are massively in debt and will have no guarantees that they can even complete the season. And in this situation, Schalke will no longer cease to exist in its current form. They will have to liquidate and start all over again in the amateur
Ich habe gesehen, die haben ja auch irgendwann was gemacht jetzt auf dem Transfermarkt, ne? Die haben irgendeinen Verteidiger oder was, Rechtsverteidiger? Irgendeinen Spieler ausgeliehen, meine ich, auch von einem französischen Verein.
This is undeniable, and this will happen if they get relegated. And as it currently stands, they are only ahead by goal difference. I'm not a Schalke fan. I'm not too in the know of German football, so I do apologise if I do miss some details. That is also important, so please comment down below if there's anything else that you want to add. I know there's some really strange things about their ex-chairman who made some really sketchy remarks, and of course when it comes to the revenue, that is also a thing to also discuss as well. So please comment down below. If you're a Schalke fan, I hope you're well, and yeah, this is bad. If you do want to keep an eye on any club in European football this year, I'll keep an eye on Schalke, as they may no longer actually exist in their current form if things get worse. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later on.
Cooles Video.